half of Americans say they are regular consumers of vitamins or other supplements. The business generates tens of billions of dollars per year.
But there's also a whole lot of confusion about whether supplements are of any value at all. One of the biggest names in the vitamin business has invested billions of dollars into a state-of-the-art supplement center right here in Las Vegas.
The I-Team's George Knapp got a tour and an earful from the head of the Dr. Vita operation.
Well, here's an example. You both heard this story today. A new study, a comprehensive study, was announced by an Australian university showing that vitamin B3 can have a significant effect in fighting against skin cancer. We can probably predict that a month from now or so, another study will tell us the exact opposite of that. It is confusing and infuriating for consumers, but it's no accident, according to the outspoken businessman who founded Dr. Vita. He's made a fortune selling vitamins, but admits the ones most of us are taking are probably worthless.
Well, the shocking part to me, George, is I can go to jail in America. I can be raided with armed federal agents. I can have my inventory seized and destroyed. I can be put out of business. I can be sued in civil courts by the government beyond criminal and be made out into a criminal for telling the truth in America.
Wayne Gorsek is a political conservative with the rhetoric of a fiery revolutionary. He bristles at the federal law which prohibits him from making specific health claims about the products he sells, vitamins, herbs, and supplements, under the brand name Dr. Vita.
They're limiting our First Amendment rights where we can't tell our customers the truth about our products. We have to water it down.
Gorsek is ready to debate anyone about the proven health benefits of vitamins. He began researching nutrition at an early age, started a garage-based supplement business that blossomed into the largest online vitamin retailer in the world, then left it and started over with Dr. Vita, a sprawling facility in Las Vegas that might be the most advanced of its kind anywhere.
I took $30 million of my at-risk capital that I earned from the success of my prior company, and I put it into my new company, including state-of-the-art manufacturing.
The facility looks like a cross between a hospital and a spaceship. Employees and visitors don surgical suits and masks. The facility produces a line of Dr. Vita products, but also handles production of other companies' products. This machine can produce 180,000 capsules per hour. This one analyzes raw materials down to the molecule to confirm, for instance, that turmeric really is turmeric.
That's state-of-the-art for detecting literally the fingerprint of the vitamin or the mineral or the herb. It's 100% with vitamin and various nutrients accuracy.
But he knows many of his competitors are not so careful. The supplement industry is rife with exaggerated claims and below-standard merchandise. Earlier this year, the industry was rocked when the Attorney General of New York went after 4 of the largest retail chains for selling supplements that contain very little of what they claim to be. Gorsek thinks the AG used the wrong test to make his point, but he's done similar tests on rival products.
It's got 1,000 milligram on the label, but yet the active was only 1%. It only had 1% active curcuminoids, which to me might as well take a placebo.
It gets worse. He says if you're taking a daily multivitamin from most of the major brands, you're probably wasting your money.
A typical vitamin being sold at a major retailer is being sold at 2.5 cents per day. The cost to manufacture that vitamin is less than 2 cents. Do you really think that product's going to work?
For decades, the debate has raged about whether supplements are of any value. The medical establishment, including the big drug companies, has largely argued that supplements are worthless, that there's no evidence they produce any positive health effects. Big pharma and medical societies have even alleged that taking vitamins can cause cancer. The supplement industry has fired back with its own studies, including a global assessment by Frost and Sullivan, which says the evidence is overwhelming. Proper levels of vitamins and nutrients could reduce major diseases and save billions per year in healthcare costs. Multiple studies show, for instance, that vitamin D can reduce the risk of cancer and help alleviate depression. Gorsek says the most telling proof of all is that most of the major vitamin brands are now owned by drug companies. companies. And he says it's no accident the levels of active ingredients in multivitamins are far below what's needed to benefit your health.
Why are they putting out products proven not to work? Why are they doing that? In my opinion, they are doing it so that you get sick and need to buy their drugs, which they make 10 times more revenue, and they make 100 times more profit.
The preponderance of evidence from medical studies, he says, shows definitive benefits from optimal levels of vitamins and nutrients. But for every positive study, someone comes out with a negative one. Gorsek thinks the studies funded by drug companies can be tailored to get the results they want. Supplements rarely, if ever, kill the people who take them. But prescription medicine claims more than 100,000 American lives per year.
Doctors are taught from medical school on that only drugs can treat or cure a disease. And they're taught that vitamins are expensive urine, essentially, and you get all you need out of your diet, which is not true. In America, there is a financial incentive for you to get sick.
The vitamin debate will go on, but here's something found by our I-Team colleague Steve Kaniger. Several surveys of medical professionals were done to see how many of them take supplements. As of about 70% of doctors take them sometimes. More than half of doctors are regular users. It's nearly 80% for nurses, and among dietitians, 94% take supplements. You can read Steve's full report and see links to many of the studies, pro and con, on our website. When choosing a multivitamin, the basic rule is you get what you pay for. Tomorrow at 11, what the FDA says about supplements and the big money that dictates national health policies. Basically, you can't cram all the stuff you need into one single pill.
There you go.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, it's amazing.
Fascinating.
Sure. Thanks, George.
Thanks, George.
Americans spend more on health care than the next 10 nations combined. 20% of our gross national product goes into health-related expenses, and yet the U.S. ranks pretty low in several key health categories.
One problem, critics say, is that we tend to focus on treating disease rather than preventing it. 70% of Americans take prescription medications, but we pay far less attention to better nutrition, which could help prevent illness. Tonight, George Knapp of the I-Team gives us an inside look at a cutting-edge vitamin company whose founder thinks American health is being held hostage to profits.
So we are the first and maybe the only nutraceutical company in America to have this latest, greatest technology.
Wayne Gorsek is justifiably proud of the high-tech wonderland of a facility he's built in Las Vegas. He's not a doctor, but his Dr. Vita brand is vying to set a new standard for the supplement industry, which has had its share of problems. The operation is a maze of stainless steel and glass and has as many quality controls and safety measures as a drug company facility, in part because Gorsek sees them as the real competition.
We're now spending $3 trillion a year, in excess of $3 trillion a year on health care, $330 billion a year on drugs, which most of them have deadly side effects. They don't cure anything in most examples.
Big Pharma and American medicine are almost schizophrenic when it comes to vitamins and supplements. Thousands of scientific studies have documented specific health benefits from optimal levels of vitamins and nutrients. Surveys show that most medical professionals use supplements themselves, but the official position of the establishment is that they do no good. To confuse things even more, Gorsek says Big Pharma now owns nearly all of the major brands of supplements. Most of the multivitamins are all but worthless, he alleges, because the amount of active ingredients packed into a single tablet is far too low to be of much benefit. His company produces what Gorsek says is a far superior product, but it's difficult to get it on the shelves of major retailers.
The drug industry throws so much money at the retailers to control that shelf space. And then they throw so much money at marketing on TV and magazines and you name it.
Big Pharma spends $24 billion per year on marketing, more than is spent on drug research. And it goes not only into TV ads for specific drugs, but also in all sorts of payments to doctors, medical schools, everyone. The industry earns billions in profits by selling products that kill more than 100,000 Americans per year, which prompted some critics to label it as the new mafia. Gorsek says the drug companies play rough. When doctors in Australia complained about side effects from the now infamous drug Vioxx, its makers plotted ways to, quote, neutralize or discredit the critics.
Here are the companies I trust. Just go
TV's
buy their
popular
product because
Dr.
they're not gonna
Oz,
scam
who
you,
often
they're not gonna make
advocates the
illegal
use of
claims.
supplements, was recently blasted by a panel of doctors, nearly all of whom had financial links to drug companies. Gorsek says the FDA, which supposedly regulates the drug companies, is an ally instead.
A lot of the people that control and run the FDA come out of the pharmaceutical industry or go into the pharmaceutical industry, have ties to the pharmaceutical industry, and they want to make the drugs are really a monopoly on treating disease.
The FDA is ostensibly neutral on vitamins. On its website, it advises consumers to beware, prohibits sellers from making specific health claims, and will go after supplements that are either contaminated or otherwise harmful. Gorsek says his facility exceeds all FDA standards. He even pays to have periodic inspections by an independent authority, NSF, which makes the results public. Gorsek thinks the only way America will ever get a handle on runaway health costs is by focusing on prevention instead of more costly treatment. Supplements could reduce disease, he says, which might be the reason they are denigrated by the medical industry.
You could reduce healthcare costs, disease rates 50+% based on the published medical literature, and that would take half of their income and maybe 80% of their profits of the doctors, the drug companies, the hospitals, and take it out of their pockets and back into the consumers' pockets.
George Knapp, 8 News Now.
The Dr. Vita brand is sold mostly online. Wayne Gorsek says the only retailer which carries another of his brands is Costco. His advice when choosing what supplements to take is to avoid the standard multivitamins and instead look for supplements which offer many times the official minimum daily requirements. It requires consumers to do a bit of research on their own. We have several links on our website and a lot more information about both sides in the great vitamin debate.